Down on the altar is Elena, and I found something out recently. There's been a conversation that's been continually going on, one that's been brewing in the Dead by Daylight community. Dead by Daylight has been a game that's been out for quite some time now. It's actually one of those games that probably by their own creators would never have seen the heights they did. It was kind of like a little knack, kind of a little time waster of a game, where the joy comes in the novelty of playing the game, the hiding, the atmosphere, the slow pace that the game used to operate at really emphasized the environment. The dark, tempered, cool colors are now replaced with more vibrant elements that now shine a light where everything used to be. Colwyn Farms is no longer a place saturated in dark, low colors and completely obscured by a thick fog. Rather, it's in an abundance of luminous and light and happening entirely in daytime. This is a clear indication of how the game has drastically transitioned from what it used to be. Claudette used to be probably one of the most optimal picks for people because of how well she allowed you to hide.
Yo, welcome back, cuties, to another video. 2 videos in a row, man. I'm actually kind of proud of myself. We are about to become a daily channel. Yeah, we're really not, let's be for real. Using my big brain to come up with an idea considering it's Dead by Daylight, and this game doesn't really have a lot of new things going on, I have decided to become one with the bush. Considering it's Claudette, I don't really level her up, so I have not really any English? The perks I have on her are pretty limited. I'm going to be running Urban Evasion, Sprint Burst, Spine Chill, and Stakeout. The idea for this build is to not be completely useless, but at the same time, today is the day that we do not get spotted by the killer for a whole entire match.
But that was particularly because of a couple of aspects. The game being so much considerably slower due to one of the most dominating perks that in almost every single breakdown video they were included. Barbecue and Chili, and Hex Ruin. Hex Ruin made it so that if anyone was off for
start off with 2 perks, Barbecue and Chili and Hex Ruin. These perks are just insanely good at what they do and extremely hard to replace. Now assuming this, a Trapper build might look something like this. Barbecue and Chili, Hex Ruin, Enduring, and Spirit Fury. This build gives you the ability to track people down with Barbecue, plus that extra BP isn't too shabby, it's really good. And the ability to hopefully slow down the game a bit so you can get your traps and whatnot set up in the form of Hex Ruin, although it may go down in the first 10 seconds, it may last the entire game. Who knows?
Again, the gen would severely degress, and prior to that as well, it came with a skill check that was very, very, very demanding and damaging. Costly to the point where if you failed it, you would actually damage the gen even further.
And the second the killer comes, I'm gonna go be a bitch and hide behind a rock.
Nope.
Well, thanks for fucking manning up, Kate. Why do these 2 leave when they hit Ruin? You expect people at red ranks to be able to push through it, but nah. We gotta spend 20 minutes to find 1 totem. Alright, I'm gonna go find the totem.
To make the game just a little bit slower. I know the meme's getting a little old, but I'm gonna keep doing it until you guys tell me to stop. So, to slow the game down just a little bit. To slow the game down just a little bit. 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 Slow.
These 2 parts playing in combination to one another ensure that gen stayed at a pretty healthy regression throughout the entire playthrough. Without them, gens would get done pretty effectively. We'll circle back to that in a little bit, but I have to talk about the current patch. In the modern day of Dead by Daylight, a lot of stuff is quickly done, and effectively as well. There's chases, there's perks, people are set in their ways and quite familiar with the game in all conceivable fashions, to the point where people have a calculus down as to how long something will take, how effective they need to be in chases, which is an average of a minute long. That's a pretty efficient chase. I mean, anything under that actually, because on average, a gen takes around 60 seconds to get done. Thus, the playstyles that become most effective, and what behooves a killer to do is to either tunnel or to kill 2 survivors. I've been watching a lot of content creators, and I played the game almost as long as it's been out. And something I've noticed from 50 kill streaks or 50 win streaks from the most talented of content creators is the frustration expressed by them desiring to show some level of skill expression, but feeling as though the only way to win effectively is to do the thing that's the less amount of risk.
A lot of you know my views on tunneling. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it's necessary. I'm saying this from a killer perspective. I play Survivor too, but as I'm actively playing killer, I find tunneling most of the time, there are exceptions, I find tunneling to be not only not morally good, I find it to be actively detrimental to my impact on the match. And what I mean by that is, when you tunnel one player until they die, you are doing all micro gameplay. Micro gameplay in DBD is the chase element. It's how quickly you can down one guy, how good you are at running tiles, how good they are at, anti-loop, and how good they are at dodging your hits and, dodging your mind game, stuff like that. That's what the micro gameplay is.
For the amount of reward they need. They pick out somebody who might not run the most optimal chases and then get them out of the game first. Then they go after everyone else, knowing they can expend more time going after them. People can't even enjoy how skillful some chases are because, unfortunately, they constantly have that anxiety that's going over their head, like some Doji shit. They constantly have to think about how long the chase is taking them, and if they're throwing the game by continuing to chase this one individual just to see if they can catch them. And on the other side of things, survivors are more optimized in strategies and builds that allow them to get the best value out of the chases. Endurance perks, speed boost perks, perks that allow them to pick themselves off the ground. This is not even taking into account that the bully squad using flashlights, stun regression, basically perks that allow you to pick yourself up, flashlights. Any of these things can crucially damage the killer's ability to effectively keep the game within their control. And most of the time period, if you don't get a 4K, it doesn't really feel like you won. If one person gets out, they're going to teabag you and be like, haha, Fugazi, big goofy ass motherfucker, you think you can get me? Yes, sirski. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, now watch me head into the mist. Yeah, your mama, your grandpappy as well. As I'm just getting around, I'm kidding for the most part, but you see the problem here. With everyone more familiar with the game and how to run an effective chase, efficiency becomes the primary factor to play this game. Even newer killers with unique power sets, it boils down to how quickly can they end the chase. And since everything is built around this, it doesn't really allow for creative expression with some of these killers. I've seen some killers with some unique powers and abilities to move themselves out of their body, or Chucky with the ability to create footsteps, or the Knight with the ability to have 3 different summonings. They're all fascinating, but if the discourse is entirely around how effective they are in the chase, then people are going to play them in the most obnoxious way, which ends up with these killers earning the ire of the community whenever they send a Knight around the proximity of whatever the survivors are at. Which is why this constant acceleration of the game makes me want to figure out what can be done. And I believe that there is a aspect of the game that we have allowed to go unevaluated for quite some time. Sure, we've talked about slugging. Sure, we talked about proxy camping, and there's ways that they've gone to try to ameliorate that. There's been some criticisms about that. I would highly recommend not Ott's video on the subject matter, because he goes into an exceptionally in-depth layer of what's wrong with that, and I believe his video is the most charitable without just believing that they're deliberately trying to sabotage their own game. There's sometimes just genuine incompetence when it comes to what can be done, what ought to be done. But the part I want to speak about is the fact that gens have never been touched. Now, what do I mean by this? For the most part, mending, doing gens, picking something off the ground aren't really all that engaging. I mean, sure, there's a bar for progression, but in terms of engagement, it's really kind of interactive. It's kind of just waiting for something to end at the point, which makes sense why it's only a minute long, because it's not really all that interesting to do. I mean, mending from some killers is so obnoxious because it's kind of boring. It kind of just sitting there for a long period of time. There's a lot of downtime rather than inactivity that makes it fun, in which it makes sense why they either had perks or permanent items and new parts that allow to expedite that part of the game, because that's not the most fascinating part of the game. The most fascinating part of the game is killer and survivor. So with that understood, it makes sense that this only takes up around roughly a minute in time. But what if it didn't? What if we expand how long a gen takes? Maybe 2 minutes, or maybe even 3 minutes. And you might look at me like I have two heads, but I feel like there's a bunch of games that have done an exceptional job by making that part of the game more interactive. For example, games like Friday the 13th come with a myriad of ways to have the survivors get out.
More complicated, as you must repair the fuse box for the phone before actually making the call. This requires you to 1. Find the fuse. This can be found within drawers across the map, but still usually fairly close to the actual location of the phone, often spawning within the same building. 2. You must use the fuse to repair the box. This requires a repair animation similar to putting in the gas or battery to the car, so it's recommended that a smarter character like LaChapa or Deborah take on this challenge. This add-on to the police escape helps with the athletic characters escaping too quickly. Number 3. Call the police. All you have to do is find the phone in the house and activate and hold the prompt hovering over it. Number 4. Wait 5 minutes. Once the call is made, a timer will come up in the top left corner of the screen, counting down from 5 minutes. And step number 5, escape. After the timer runs out, find the exit where the police have spawned and make your way to it. Once you make it there, you automatically escape and the game will end for you, leaving you to spectate the remaining survivors. That's really it for the police escape. It's fairly simple but much more balanced now than it was in the beta. For further recommendations, I recommend rolling perks, as some perks give you the ability to shorten the length you have to wait before the police arrive. Also, having a map is extremely useful, since the police can be seen on the map once they arrive. With that, let's move on to the next escape. The car escape. Every map has a car, and quite often has 2. Options for the car include the 2-seater and the 4-seater, both of which are repaired and used in the same way, just carry a different number of passengers. For the car escape, you have to 1. Find and put gas into the car. Gas can be found in the cabins across the map, often chilling on the floor. It can be missed pretty easily, so in cabins near a car, make sure you are looking carefully as you go from cabin to cabin. Once you find the gas, take it to the
not only repair the circuit boards, power the system, call the police, and then wait 5 minutes for the police to arrive to finally get there. Then you have the boat or the car, or just straight up killing Jason. Now the game has altered this in some way to ensure that it's still fun, because, well, Jason can just straight up kill you, and unless you have some sort of weapon to protect yourself with, it's basically just GG's at that point. But it's pretty fun still, because the game has made sure that there are ways to keep you engaged, and there's still more prompts in there. So I do think that's a good way to have that happen, but the games can often lead to maybe being around 6 to 7 minutes long. So again, not the most perfect strategy, but something far more engaged, and there's a myriad of ways to go about it. And if you don't like any of the games like Friday the 13th, VHS, those games being the thing I'll compare it to, I think you might like this next one, because we're going to anime for the next one. Naruto Ultimate Ninja was a landmark of a game, kind of in terms of its aesthetics. It had shell shading in it, which essentially allowed it to really breathe air into the anime aesthetics of the game. Even before a fight occurred, it had manga panels of the characters interacting with one another, and if they had some sort of story relevance to each other, they would say something in particular that was relevant to the characters they were engaging with.
Just a given that I'm better than you. Zip it, loser.
Finally beat Sasuke! I fight to protect what's important to me!
It's only by killing others that I can appreciate life.
It's the one who has something to fight for who's stronger!
For Naruto's ultimates, there was a myriad of buttons you had to press.
Here I go! Demon Wind Shuriken! Windmill of Shadows! How about this? Behind you, believe it! I'll do it! Naruto Barrage!
Pressing these resulted in a max damage or a damage mitigation for an ultimate, while a sequence of a visual play before you. It's quite engaging and made those things fun. It wasn't just something you had to sit your controller down and just wait to finish. So not something similar to like a Mortal Kombat 11, which deserves its own video in its own right. But the point I'm making here is that this sort of active engagement has been already tried in DBD with the Skull Merchant. The Skull Merchant has up and down, left and right, and I think that's far more engaging than just holding down a button and waiting for every once in a while, even if it comes a skill check to just make sure you're still awake while playing the game. And make sure that you're locked in and watching the game, ever vigilant about what's happening, but it's not very engaging beyond the constant moment of, are you there? Are you awake? And I think that this, in of itself, is the crux of the issue. I find it sad that there are characters like Trapper, whose gameplay is entirely built around calculated decision and trap placements, but is F tier in terms of all the killers because he has so much setup time. But that setup time is equally one of the most gratifying moments in playing Trapper. It rewards somebody for thinking forward. And it's sad to see that sort of gameplay loop not be rewarded because it's all about efficiency at the end of the day. Trapper is fun because if you don't place your traps in good places, it can impede and inhibit your ability to catch a survivor. But you'll never really get to play that because you're constantly thinking to yourself, okay, if I spend 2 minutes setting up, 2 gens are gone, and if I mess up on one chase, then I basically am just throwing at that point. It's sad for that to be occurring, and that the most effective strategy is just to hook somebody, camp them until they're dead, and then wait for them to die. But hey, this is one of my more shorter videos, and I hope y'all enjoy, and let me know what y'all think, honestly. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, and this video was to address the ever-growing power creep that exists within Dead by Daylight, and one of the ways that it can be ameliorated to slow down the game while also offering ways that it can be far more engaging. But until next time, smile.